It's just noise. How often has this sentiment met new musical styles within church walls? This critique of worship music echoes a long-standing tension, preserving traditions versus embracing innovation. Figures like Isaac Watts faced similar resistance centuries ago. Their efforts paved the way for today's sacred music. Understanding this history helps navigate current worship debates. Born in 1674, Isaac Watts was a prolific English hymn writer, theologian and logician. He is credited with revolutionizing congregational singing by introducing hymns with simpler language and more relatable themes. Prior to Watts, psalm singing dominated church services. Psalms, while rich in theological depth, were often considered inaccessible to the average churchgoer due to their archaic language and complex musical arrangements. Watts recognized this disconnect and sought to bridge it through his innovative approach to hymn writing. Watts believed that congregational singing should be an engaging and meaningful act of worship accessible to all. He moved away from the strict metrical translations of psalms and instead focused on crafting hymns that expressed the truths of Scripture in a way that resonated with the common man. His hymns were characterized by their clear language, relatable imagery, and heartfelt expressions of faith. Despite their eventual widespread acceptance, Watts's hymns were initially met with considerable resistance. Many traditionalists viewed his departure from exclusive psalmody as a radical and unwelcome innovation. They argued that Watts's hymns, with their emphasis on simple language and emotional expression, lacked the theological depth and reverence of the Psalms. Some even went so far as to label his compositions as vulgar and unfit for the sanctity of the church. This resistance stemmed from a deep-seated reverence for tradition and a fear of change. The Psalms had been the bedrock of church music for centuries, and any deviation from this established norm was met with suspicion and apprehension. The controversy surrounding Watts's hymns underscores the challenges faced by those who dare to innovate within religious contexts, even when their motivations are rooted in a desire to enhance worship and make it more accessible. Section 4. The enduring legacy of Watts, shaping congregational song for centuries. Despite facing initial resistance, Watts's hymns gradually gained acceptance and eventually transformed the landscape of congregational singing. His emphasis on clear language, relatable imagery, and heartfelt expressions of faith resonated deeply with churchgoers, breathing new life into corporate worship. Hymns like "Joy to the World, When I Survey the Wondrous Cross" and "O God, Our Help in Ages Past" became instant classics, transcending denominational boundaries and becoming staples in Protestant churches worldwide. Watts' impact extends far beyond the specific hymns he penned. He redefined the role of hymns in worship, shifting the focus from strict adherence to tradition to a more accessible and engaging expression of faith. His legacy continues to inspire hymn writers and worship leaders today, encouraging them to find fresh and meaningful ways to connect congregations with the timeless truths of Scripture through song. Section 5. Finding the balance, embracing the new while honoring the old. The tension between tradition and innovation in church music is a delicate balance to be struck. Just as Watts enriched worship, we must approach new musical expressions with open minds, honor sacred traditions, while embracing present creativity and innovation. The key is discernment, aiming to glorify God and edify His people. Does this music draw us closer to God? Does it express Scripture faithfully and compellingly? Does it resonate with our congregation's diversity? These questions guide us in navigating church music with wisdom and grace. Section 6. Examining everything, holding fast to the good, a call for discernment. In his letter to the Thessalonians, the Apostle Paul advises, test everything. Hold on to the good. 1 Thessalonians 5:21. This applies to church music and all areas of faith. Engage thoughtfully, prayerfully, considering their merit. Our worship should glorify God and edify His people.